So we're going to look at a series of exercises now which I use to manage patellofemoral pain syndrome, and they're not they don't directly affect the kneecap, but what they're doing is to affect stability of the hip, so that as we're walking and running, the alignment of the kneecap is improved. Now, we've already done some treatment on the kneecap itself, so we did some taping, and we've already talked about the position of the foot and the use of orthotics. So this is now working on the leg as a chain of movement, but this time from the top. So we start off with the clamshell exercise. So for the clamshell, what we do is I'm going to lie onto my side, and as I do so, my knees are together and my feet are together, and I can just use something to support my head if I need it, or I can just use my arm. And the action is to use my hand in front to lift up the knee and to lower back down again. So I'm making sure that my hips are stacked so that this hip joint is directly over the underneath hip joint. So I'm not leaning back. So I'm from here, weight onto that front hand, and I'm using my fingertips. So I'm not pushing hard, using my fingertips, and then I just lift and lower, lift and lower, and I'm feeling it here in my outer hip muscles. Now, if you find that that position is difficult to lift into the high position, or that it's painful because your knees are coming together, then you can use just something between your knees. So I've got a yoga blanket here, but you could equally use a bolster or a folded blanket. So I'm now coming from this position where my knees are more or less hip width apart, and I'm lifting and lowering back down again. And if I want more height, I've got my yoga bolster here, but you could as well use a blanket. And now my knees are together. So what I'm now doing is using the last movement. So I'm just using the top of that movement, hold it, and then come back down. And again, lift and lower. So what I've done there is to limit the range of motion. So rather than doing the full range of motion, I'm just using that end range of motion. So that's our clamshell exercise.